In fact, this is what I've discovered. Most of us think that salvation, if we were pushed, and I would say, what is the purpose of salvation? You think salvation's about you. Salvation is God meeting my greatest need. Now, the reason we need to get God's perspective on salvation and not ours is because you have to have the right perspective on salvation because it impacts how you relate to God. If you think that salvation is God meeting your need, you're going to be tempted to think that that's God's purpose in life is to meet my need. And the reason many of you have never grown in your relationship with God, and many of you have kind of abandoned your faith, and you love God, you believe in God, you think you're going to heaven, and I've accepted Jesus as Savior and all that stuff, but I'm not living vibrant, I'm not growing in my faith, and it's because you have a wrong perspective on God. You believe that salvation is about you, and you gave up on God because you prayed and asked God to meet your needs. You brought your needs to God, and you know what? God didn't pay any attention to your needs. He didn't meet your needs, and you're saying it doesn't work for me. It didn't work. I tried it. It doesn't. I still believe in God. I'm still a Christian, but I'm just not going to walk in that and it's because you have the wrong perspective. If we think that salvation is just about us, we're going to begin to make God all about us, and he becomes a divine Santa Claus that exists just to meet the needs that I have. And I want to tell you something. You can't sustain a relationship with God. So it's important we understand this. For his salvation reveals his righteousness. God said the very fact that I saved you teaches you something about me. And I want you to know me. Secondly, I think it's important for us to understand for this reason. If you have the wrong perspective about salvation, it will produce a faith that is unsustainable. In other words, if you believe that God exists for you, your faith is unsustainable. And the reason it's unsustainable is because God doesn't always do what we want him to do. And the minute he doesn't do what you want him to do, you're going to give up. You're going to throw in the towel. You're going to walk away. You're going to throw up your hands. That faith is not sustainable. But when we understand that salvation is not about me, it's about him. It's about his righteousness and about his glory and about him revealing who he is. All of a sudden, our life becomes about him.